leather daddies, feral children, and Mel Gibson, because why not? Jamie,
Yeah.
let's go watch Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior.
Everybody, and welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. Here we are to gather and speak of movies from the 1980s. We talk about them, we pull them apart, we put them back together. We have a little fun. It's myself, Jamie Lorello, also here with my partner in crime, DP McCabe, Bridge.
Wow, okay. I know my last name has a lot of syllables to it.
It was a long one for me for tonight. It's been a long day, boss.
I like how we pull the movies apart and then put them back together. Almost like it's a jigsaw puzzle that comes already together. We have to break it up.
We have to bring it up. Exactly. The movie is already there. It's been there for now decades.
Almost
right?
40 years, some of these.
And we are visiting it, and we are just diving in. And it's amazing to me. First of all, never fails to amaze me when I think about how we could literally do this podcast forever. There's just so many movies from the 80s.
We'll never run out. This idea, this decade is going to outlive our podcast. It's going to outlive the two of us.
Perhaps.
You know, I would invite anyone. Perhaps you, in the past year or so, had a baby. So maybe when we finally retire, that baby can take over the podcast.
Right, maybe start grooming the baby from now.
Yes.
Let the baby know, get the baby in sync with, our chemistry and sort of the way, one of us introduces, we walk through it, we kind of fumble around, we don't really talk about the movie for at least a good 45 minutes of the podcast.
Right.
We're off topic.
Exactly. Make sure the baby knows, they never did Monster Squad? In the 40 years of doing the show, they never did it?
My husband will murder us if we don't.
Oh, I know. I'm telling you right now, that's going to be our last episode ever. If I ever announce that we're doing Monster Squad, you know that's the last episode
That's the end.
It's
our finale. It's our grand finale. And now, the time has come for Monster Squad.
Yeah.
Here we are not doing Monster Squad. Because we can't, because it's not Monster Squad 2. It's our summer of sequels,
No.
right?
Return of the Monster Squad? No, that sounds terrible.
It's not happening here tonight.
Yeah. So we are here. Here's what I'm going to try and do from now on. I mean, now that we've been doing the show for over 5 years, I will try and start every episode by saying, please go to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review and a rating, something like that. That really does actually help the show. The more ratings and reviews we get, the higher ranked we are, the more people are then able to find the show. So please go ahead and do that.
The more traffic
And
we get.
we have a Patreon, in case you're not aware.
It's so fun. You get bonus episodes that we don't even, that people that listen on the Apple don't get. Really fun ones. Like, what did we just do? This past one was so fun. I was kind of wishing for a little Stepford Wives action here.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I would say our most recent bonus episode is Revenge of the Stepford Wives, a.k.a., for some reason, Terror in New York.
Yeah. Even though New York is not at all where... Well, maybe the journalist is originally from New York.
Oh, so she came in from the big city with her big city ways.
And now she's terrored.
Snooping and prying as women may do.
That's
Mel
why
Gibson
they
wouldn't
need
know
to
anything
be
about that. He met one woman in this movie and she was murdered.
Oh, that's right. She with a bow and arrow thingy, right?
There's so many crossbows and bow and arrows, yes. But anyway, patreon.com/goodtimesgreatmovies. Go check it out. All of our bonus stuff is there. You get unedited episodes, so it's at least 10 minutes of us talking about this movie before we start talking about the movie.
It's pretty wonderful. There's bathroom breaks. There's dog barks. There's sometimes there's singing for the patrons. They get long, endless tunes that Doug or I will bust into some sort of song. And you know what? If you don't pay, then you don't get to hear that kind of magic.
Right. So this is just saying, if you never want to hear that, don't ever join Patreon. Don't ever do that. That's a mistake. But we do have a new patron named
Welcome.
Laura. And Laura Patreoned up from the $5 level. And she now gets to program an episode of the show, one a year. So
Wow.
look for that in the next couple months. So thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Laura. Welcome. And I look forward to your programming choice.
Yeah. Also, something we don't do on this show a lot, but there's been a couple of these, so I wrote them down. We have a few RIPs that were related to the podcast. First one is a biggie who was not related to the podcast. I'm sure at some point we will get to a Wilford Brimley joint, but we have not
right.
yet. I mean, I think of him from, other than the Quaker Oats thing, and I know that's a joke, or when he's on TV yelling about diabetes. Like, I get that. That's a joke. But
Right.
I know him from John Carpenter's The Thing and also the TV show Our House.
I was going to
Did
say,
you still-
was he in? No, he wasn't in Highway to Heaven.
No,
he
he
was in
wasn't.
Our House.
Yeah, he was in Our House
Our
with
House.
Shannon Doherty.
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
those are the two things that I know him from. And even though we haven't run into him yet, I'm sure we'll
He's
stumble.
an 80s actor.
Yeah,
He's
we'll
there.
stumble
He's
upon a
lingering.
Cocoon at some point. I'm
We
sure.
must.
The other person who died very recently was Rennie Santoni. That name, might not know what that means, but
Rolls off the tongue nice, though.
he played Poppy on Seinfeld and was also
Poppy.
Stallone's partner in Cobra.
Yes, Poppy peed the couch and then Cobra.
Yep, yes. So he recently passed.
Aw.
But the big one for us, because she was in 3 of our movies.
Oh, yes.
Kelly
the KP.
Preston.
The KP. I know. How sad. I didn't even know she was sick, but I guess that was sort of her intention.
Yeah, I remember hearing that a few years ago because I mean, I guess that's how long she had been sick. But I kind of forgot about it and it sort of came out of nowhere. But yeah, we saw her in Space Camp, Secret Admirer, and she was in Amazon Women on the Moon. Remember, she was the girl in the car who the guy was
that's
buying the
right.
condom for.
That's right. Oh my God, that movie was weird.
It sure was. Thanks. Who had us watch that? Was that a Zeke pick?
I was gonna say Zeke. I
I
thought.
think it might have been a Zeke pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird movie. And just for you, Jamie, I did the smallest amount of research about all 3 of these people. Wilford Brimley was the only one not on CSI. So
Oh,
the other 2 made CSI appearances.
so there we could always. That's always a good like. See, and I've never even referenced a CSI episode as a fave. Maybe I should, like as a recommendation.
No, I know, but your thing is like Law and Order /
Yeah.
CSI. I didn't see
that's
Law and
true.
Order for anyone, so I kind of just went for the CSI.
But that's all right. I'll
connection
take
there.
some. I'll take some CSI.
All right. Oh, well,
All right. Well, that was good little announcements. There we go. I know now I'm depressed. So let's get to the apocalypse. There we
Yeah.
have it.
let's get to the post-apocalypse, I guess.
Oh yeah, post-apocalypse. That's right. It's happened. The end of the world is here, and we're in a bad way, and in the desert.
Yeah, and are we supposed to believe that World War II caused the end of the world, or what, like grainy newsreel footage, but nothing
Oh.
beyond the 50s was shown?
Well, they just basically give you a little like a narrative overview of the world's gone to shit, and in the you do feel like, well,
I would like it if you did. And the world's gone to shit. And then we met Mad Max.
exactly.
All right, okay, great.
That's basically what.
Because all the important information, like we don't have gas, the world's a desert, none of that is brought up. Like everything that this movie is about has nothing to do with, like I said, the old newsreel footage that we see at the beginning of guns and tanks and guys sitting in the UN. I was like, this is just setting up that people are awful and we all
Yes.
destroyed each other at some point. Okay. All right. Well, oh, anyway, we're doing Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior
The Road Warrior.
from 1981. And before we started recording, when we were talking just for patrons, you mentioned that you have not seen any Mad Maxes.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the first one, and they do show some footage from the first one at the start.
I wondered if there was that some of that was flashback into like when he, because they give you a little about
give you
how
a
he had
little
a
Mel.
family. Yeah, little early Mel there with his wife, right, and the baby. They were running, and then they basically got run over by motorcycles or something.
Yeah, something. I haven't seen any of these other than the recent one.
The newer ones. Okay.
I haven't seen them for a very long time. The original was probably the last of the original trilogy that I saw, which is very different than this. It doesn't take place in a nuclear wasteland. Mel Gibson's just like a cop, and his and his family's just kind of like murdered by a punk street gang, and then he takes revenge. Like, it's not like this movie at all.
Oh. So is the other one based in like before everything goes down?
I guess so.
Right.
There's like little towns, and there's other people, and there's civilization. Nobody's dressed for an S&M party.
No. Okay.
So the first one's a more modest, somewhat more realistic movie than everything that's come after that.
Okay, gotcha.
So this sort of kicks off, when people say Mad Max or when they talk about Mad Max, this movie kind of kicks off that
vibe.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
because this is what he is for the rest. This is how Charlize dresses, kind of, in the most recent one. It's all a desert wasteland and everything like that, with weird get-ups and costumes and makeup and things like that. So yeah.
Okay.
Just to give you and maybe our listeners who haven't seen them a little bit of background.
A little bit more, that helps. It helps when you're doing the summer of sequels to know what you're sandwiched around.
That's the thing, though. We've been doing this for, so many of these movies we're like, I don't know, we didn't see the first one. Let's jump right in.
We're just doing it.
So I felt like I had a weird advantage to watching this.
Because you had seen the... Yes, yes.
As we said, there is a voiceover. Mm-hmm. I didn't know who this voiceover was. Let's wait till the end to find out who.
You just thought it was the storyteller. You just thought it was someone to let you know, to set things in place.
Right.
But nah.
Like I said, a very sophisticated, elderly British gentleman.
Yes.
Is telling us about the world and how it has crumbled.
The chaos,
right.
Yes, it's ruined, and they're showing us, like you said, the histories of war and just anger and fear, and it's just shit. It's not a good place.
Yeah, this is what 80s movies, like, if you're talking about a post-apocalyptic, or not even post-apocalyptic, a futuristic world in the 80s, it was like Blade Runner or Mad Max. It was either these crazy, like, cities that were so infused with Japanese
beaming
characters.
lights. Yeah.
Yes. Or it was just a desert wasteland.
Well, there's your options. Let's face it.
So we're introduced to Max. Nobody calls him Mad Max. I don't even know that anybody calls him Max.
No.
I guess he introduces himself.
Because they don't call anybody by name here except Humongous, who introduces himself. And so at one point I think they do call him Max, because I remember thinking, when did they find out that was his name? Because we don't do any sort of formal introductions of anybody here.
We don't have time. There's too much driving and crashing and arrow shooting for us to introduce.
The guy that I just call him the hostage, the first guy that he meets, the helicopter guy.
Yeah.
I refer to him as hostage, because in the beginning, it's which we'll get to, Max takes this guy sort of as a hostage, right? So that he could get
I think that's fair.
to the gas.
I didn't have time for people's
But he has
names.
a name. I don't know what it is.
Listen, I'm sure if you looked on IMDb, all these people have names, but no one really has names.
Well, there's Feral Kid. We know that guy.
There is Feral Kid and Humongous and Mad Max. I think that's it, honestly. Like, nobody sits around and has like a formal dinner where they're introducing each other. No, we don't have time for that. So we're introduced to Mad Max, and he's in his big, I was going to call it a fancy car, but I guess it's like just a tough guy muscle car.
But it's all dubbed up for this desert life, I guess.
It is, but it's also like oddly hollowed out. Like he sends his dog in the back seat. It's not a back seat. It's just an open space.
And is there like, did he build was there hay back there for the dog to lay in?
It looked like an old like chewed up mat or something because the
okay.
dog lays down but does not. And we've watched movies before, Natty Gann, with some amazing dog acting.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say anything bad about this dog because he dies and it's sad. But this dog does not have the acting chops of that wolf in that movie. This dog lays down in a car that is vibrating wildly and the dog does not seem comfortable with this. It like gets back up immediately. And I'm like, that's your best take. That's the best take.
I do like it. There's at one point when Mad Max holds the dog because the dog is trying to attack and carries him off, and that was pretty cute. It's a cute dog, though. I think it's like a blue heeler. I don't know what kind it is. And I think, speaking of names, I think he calls the dog. I think he calls the dog at one point because he barks, and I think he goes dog. Shh. So names are very simplified here.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe he had the dog in the original. I don't remember, but.
It's a cute pup.
Just the fact that he eats all of the dog food and just gives the empty can to the dog. I was like, this is horrible pet ownership. I know it's the end of the world, but come on, Mel. Come on.
They don't have the bond like Natty and Wolf did.
No,
not
not at all. Not at all.
No.
This dog would have been murdering those chickens in the Natty can.
Absolutely.
But it does have like a kicky little scarf on, which I thought was funny.
It
I was
does,
like, when did Mel Gibson tie a scarf around this dog? It was like, this is your outfit now. We all have to dress up. We all have to wear something, dog. This is what you get.
You'll look a little tougher if you put this scarf on. I
was looking for a leather scarf, couldn't find it.
Exactly.
All I have is this ragged red one. It's just going to have to do.
But it's okay because you're going to come with me and you're going to... Yeah, it doesn't even like help him sniff out danger. That's really what he does. It does scare the prisoner. The when he takes this one guy, part of the reason he can is because the dog scares him. But even when he scares him, Wolf had this... Listen to me. I'm now going to like go detail into the Natty Gann Wolf.
Let's go Natty Gann v. Mad Max. Let's do it. Who's going to survive in this wasteland? My money's on Natty Gann, strangely enough.
Well, with Wolf, when Wolf growls at you, he bares his teeth. He's letting you know I'm ready for attack. This guy's like, I'm barking because maybe you're friendly and maybe you're not. That's what this dog's doing. He doesn't seem to be as threatening.
Also, though, Wolf is a wolf. So I think that he's got a bit of an advantage. Like we saw in Natty Gann. Let's just talk about Natty
Maybe
Gann
this
again.
is part dingo. Maybe this dog is part dingo. Isn't that like the Australian wolf, basically?
It is.
Maybe
they
the dingo
did
ate your baby.
steal Meryl Streep's baby and ate it, but this doesn't look dingo-y. This is a dog. So at the beginning of this...
Baby, you see what you have to do, baby? You don't talk about the movie you're supposed to talk about, baby. You talk about...
Yeah, future baby, if you're listening to this, just talk about dogs for a long time, and then at the end be like, and Mel Gibson saves the day. The end. That's what you tuned in for, right?
I mean, I guess he does.
He saves all of them so they could go to Cancun or whatever the hell they're doing. What was that brochure that he showed
They're
him?
going to the beach. They're going to the beach.
He showed him a brochure, and I was like, what is this, Cabo? Like, what is this brochure for?
What are you looking for, a cruise ship? Where are you headed, guys?
And where did you get that? That's in pristine condition.
I know. He did present it, and it was like laminated and folded.
Yeah.
He was like, look what I have.
If you were watching this movie and you didn't know what it was about, right away, after we meet Mel Gibson, he basically murders some dudes through fancy driving. And that's kind of what this movie is.
Well, no, it's who are the dudes following him? We should make note. It's that weird punk guy with the mohawk and his lover, I guess, with the...
This movie seems very progressive in its sexuality, let's say. Because...
And you know what? That's a wonderful thing because it's very early 80s and it's Australian. So let it be
see
progressive.
that this whole gang is made up of men. I don't think we see any women as part of this gang. But after that one guy's killed, even Humongous is like, listen, we all have lost someone that we've loved.
Yeah.
And we have to persevere. And I was like, this is so adorable and sad. But yeah, it's this guy with a mohawk and let's say his blonde-haired boyfriend. And they kind of like Mel Gibson comes to this wrecked truck or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like throwing things down, trying to gather all the gas that he can.
Yes.
And he kind of has a little staring contest with the Mohawk guy who's on a motorcycle, but they finally let him go. They finally just drive away and let Mel Gibson win the day and get the gas to fuel up his car so he can continue on to question mark.
I think he's just driving a drive.
All
Like
right.
an old cowboy just rides off into the wilderness to ride.
It is kind of very cowboy. Like, it's very like, what if Han Solo was in the deserts of Australia? Like,
Yeah,
that is
right,
exactly
right.
what this movie
With
is.
some badass wheels and toys and weapons.
Yeah.
Right?
But he also finds music box guts.
Oh, yeah. Music box guts. Yeah, the little
Yeah, like the
music
inside.
box.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
thing.
Right.
Beep, 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 beep. Music boxes, by the way, are just inherently sweet but creepy. Right?
You
Little bit
hear
of
a
both.
music box in a horror movie? It is terrifying.
Yeah, even in real life, sometimes for a minute I'm like, oh, grandma's gift. And then I'm like, oh, where's the clowns? Who's going to kill me?
It's not good. It plays Happy Birthday, and he pockets it. He's like, all right. He even
take
smiles
this.
like he's a weird child, too.
Well, we did know that in the beginning he lost his wife and his little baby. So maybe he's got a little kinship here with having lost a babe. There are, when he gets when he goes through this truck and he finds this little music box, there's two dead people that reach up for him, right? Isn't there like a hand that reaches out and then another dead body falls out of the truck?
Of the truck, yes. I mean, you have to assume he's been encountering this for however many years he's been driving
this is just
around.
part of the
Right.
deal, right?
But it's really weird. Like the whole idea of I need to drive so I can find gas so I can keep driving doesn't make much sense, because I don't think he knows that there's like this wonderful paradise out there somewhere. So
No, it
I'm
seemed
not
to be new
really
to him.
sure what he's been up to.
What you been up to,
Well, no,
Mr. Max?
I
We're
just,
curious.
I just mean he
Where
doesn't-
do you get your canned dog food anyway?
Right. Where
do
did
you
this
get that
dog food
supply?
come from? How many cans of this? You're eating one on a mountaintop. You're eating another one in camp.
You're not conservative about it either.
No.
You just dig right in.
No, don't give any to the dog. Later
Not a
on,
little.
the helicopter pilot prisoner, he and the dog are fighting over who's going to eat a dead snake, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Snakes are, it's tasty meat. And the helicopter guy's into it. Well, speaking of this helicopter guy, this prisoner,
Yes.
Max stumbles upon him soon, right? He's let go, like you said, by the Mohawk guy who's kind of chased him down and let him go. He drives on to nowhere because where's he going, right? He sees the snake first, right? Doesn't
Well,
Max
he
see it
sees
first?
this bizarre flying contraption.
Oh, right, the thing.
Yeah, and he stops and he's like, oh, I wonder what this thing is. And it's apparently guarded by a snake. Like, there's like a snake wrapped around it.
Not everybody could have a pet dog.
Yeah. Some people have
Yeah.
to have a pet snake. I don't know how many
Right.
snakes this guy has, because one's dead later. He throws one down on somebody.
Yeah,
Like,
it's part of
I
his
don't-
weapons. He's
yeah.
like the snake guy.
Do you remember when we did Cherry 2000?
Yeah,
And-
so this movie kind of reminded me of Cherry
Yeah,
2000
yeah.
points. Yeah.
And there was that goofy guy they found, and they, like, crossbowed him through the head. Remember they put a bag on his head
oh,
and
yeah,
held him
yeah,
against
yeah.
the wall?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
equally as kind of goofy. And where's he wearing? Like these yellow, it's like cute, crazy
He's-
yellow outfit, right?
He's got, like, a purple Steven Tyler scarf on, too.
Yes.
And he's got like yellow skinny jeans and then like pink Converse that apparently are like the sand must be burning his feet through them, because he's shifty and just jumping around and saying ow a lot. Anyway, he's no match for Mel Gibson.
No.
He's
Mel's got his number right away.
right. Mel knows what he's doing.
Yes.
And he gets a jump on this guy, and like you said, takes him prisoner and like chains him up and is like, let's go. Because this guy tells him he knows where there's a lot of gas. And that's all Mel Gibson cares about. And I know they're not quite working together now, but they're kind of together now.
Yeah, well, and even I think the helicopter guy later, he later is like, I mean, we're kind of partners, and clearly Max likes to work alone, but this is their team up point. This is where
Yeah.
they're looking for the as the Australians say it, the guzzling.
Or the guzzling, nice.
Yeah.
That is how they say it. And their summer is our winter. So,
It's so cold
it's
in
a
Melbourne
crazy
right now. Yeah.
So he takes him to sort of this hilltop or
Like peak.
mountaintop
Yeah, yeah.
where they're able to see like a giant. See, and this is going to show you how ignorant I am as far as how things work. Like a giant oil refinery or big gas station.
Yeah, because it's one of those things. I used to see them in California. It's like this lever that goes up
Right.
and down and gets the oil, I guess, out of the
In the
yes.
oil fields, yes.
Like a drill. I guess it's the drill.
It's a drill and a pump. It's doing everything.
It's a pump drill.
Uh-huh.
It's the oil getter.
So these people in the middle of the desert are the only ones that have this oil getter.
Yes.
And we see that they're almost in this compound, and it took a
Yes.
little while for me to understand what was happening.
Same.
But this same evil gang that was harassing Mel Gibson just a few
Earlier,
scenes
right.
earlier just drive around this place and hoot and holler.
It's like I wrote down it was like the Gasoline X Games because it looked
Oh.
like they were doing like they were like on dirt bikes and ATVs and it looked like they were doing some sort of an event like the X Games or something because they're just driving around and
I'd watch the Gasoline X Games. I'd watch those. Fire shooting everywhere, people jumping over it on bikes. Sure, why not?
be dangerous but a good time as long as I was not a participant and just an
Yeah.
observer. I'd be down.
X
Yeah.
Games, ESPN, whoever does that, listen, you get those dudes in ashless chaps and do this, your numbers, your viewership is going to skyrocket.
Oh, it's gonna go way up. This is gonna be perfect.
So this is where we see Mel Gibson like chains this guy to a tree stump or something, and he eats dog food. This is
Mel Gibson does.
yeah, and I guess it's sort of played for laughs, but also like, oh, how desperate these times where Mel Gibson has to eat dog food. What a shame.
I know.
So, as the sun sets that night, all the bad guys who have just been X-gaming it, like you said, they just drive off.
They're done.
Yeah. And
Nighttime falls, and they got, I guess, homes to get home to. I don't know.
No idea. I have no idea why they're just driving around wasting gas all day long.
Yeah.
Again, this is diplomacy. Like, if these guys weren't dressed like psychopaths and, they could make deals like give us gas and we'll, protect you from other
Sure,
marauding
yeah.
gangs or something. Like, it seems
There's no
like Mel
deals.
Gibson's the only somewhat reasonable and rational person in this movie.
But even he, I like it because he makes this arrangement with his hostage where the hostage is like, okay, I'll take you to the gasoline, but then you'll free me, right? And he doesn't unchain him. He's just, and Mel Gibson's like, yeah, I didn't say I'd free you. I said I wouldn't kill you.
Right.
I don't know if you'd call him a fair dealer, but he makes a deal. He's yeah,
Listen,
making
he's a
deals.
scoundrel. We already said he's Han Solo. Like, he's not a bad guy. He's not a bad guy, but,
Right.
he's not a great guy. He's in it
No.
for himself and possibly his dog.
Maybe.
Maybe, but he doesn't feed him.
Likely the dog. Too.
So the next morning we see that this, I was going to say the walls of this place open, but the walls are just revealed to be a bus that just
Yeah.
has metal plating on it.
Not a very sturdy border here,
Right.
but that's okay.
So the bus moves to open the walls of this, and then some other cars leave this protected gas fortress.
Mm-hmm.
And now Mel Gibson and his very silly, let's call him the comedic relief, the comedy relief.
Yeah, that's what he is. The ha-ha of it all.
They're watching everything through. He has like a comically large telescope that he's looking at.
Oh,
everything
right,
through.
right. And Max just has these little pair of knockies.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it when Mad Max looks up and he sees this giant thing and just takes it from the guy and
Yeah,
gives
he's
him
like,
the
these are going to be a
binoculars.
much better, yeah. But what they watch through the knockies and the telescope, some pretty rough stuff.
It's pretty rough stuff for a movie that I thought was just car crashes and possible dog murder.
What possible dog murder? I guess it's so that we realize just how bad these bad guys are.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Because they they go off after a few of the cars that have left, and we don't really see what happens to those people quite yet. But they do have this one car that flips over, and they pull these two people out of it. And the one person appears to be a woman, and they like rape her. I'm not sure, but I'm
they
assuming
totally
that's
rape
what.
her.
Okay,
Yeah, they totally rape her.
I saw they ripped off all their clothes, but I didn't know what else was happening. And they do end up killing her.
Did you look away?
I
said,
looked away. I
can't
was
look
like,
at
I
this."
cannot take this anymore. Mad Max, I hope you avenge her death.
Yes.
They beat the one guy up pretty bad. They do kill her.
Did they tie him to the thing, or because when Mad Max comes, he has like wire clippers that he
He's got
gets
these
them
big
loose
bolt
with.
cutters.
Yeah, bolt cutters. Not wire clippers.
And I like
Bigger
how
than
he
a wire
sneaks
clipper.
down. While the goofy guy's watching this whole thing, Mad Max sneaks off of this giant mountain and shows up like just in time
Oh yeah, he's gonna save the day.
to beat up the one guy and to save the other guy.
Yes.
And then he drives this guy back to the gasoline palace.
And he's going to use him sort of as a bargaining chip, right? He's got him slung over his shoulder, basically half dead. We realize he's not really going to make it once he brings him back. But he goes to these people now, these garters of the gas.
Right.
Right? Is that...
Garters of the gas. I love it. These people are dressed like a cosplay mix of like Star Wars and Game of Thrones characters. Everything's pretty bland, and like you said, it's just like shoulder pads that are just kind of all spray painted the same color. Like it's not, the costuming isn't. The good guys look super
nothing
lame.
Elaborate.
The bad guys look really fun and totally cool.
Yeah, a little silly because the tushy's sticking out.
Very silly, but I just thought it was funny how all the good guys they're just all wearing light colors.
Yeah, and like scarves and long, yes.
They're dressed for winter in the desert, basically.
Because it gets cold at night, though, when the sun goes down.
That's what they say.
I don't know that. Well, you were there.
I've been to the desert. Well, I've never been to the Australian desert.
True. Okay. So maybe it was winter there.
Maybe it's winter. Maybe it was summer up here, post-apocalypse, and down there it was winter.
Who are we to say the season? It doesn't tell us. The narrator didn't say.
Yeah.
So we don't know. Maybe they're appropriately dressed.
Do you think Mel Gibson rips one of his sleeves off in the winter and then sews it back on?
I believe so.
He would rip it off in the summer.
Not even so. Yeah. Well, in our winter though. Look, we're all confused. Baby, then what you do, little baby, is you're going to talk about seasons for a while, little baby. And then people will be like, I thought they were talking about Mad Max. That's how you do it, little baby. You never really stick to the movie for very long.
Yep.
You just go off somewhere.
I like how this baby in the future is going to be like, do I just talk about Mad Max all the time? Is it a Mad
Max episode that are on repeat? This is 101. This is just lesson 1.
This is the only episode this baby's parents have let this baby listen to.
You see what I mean, baby? Like now we're just focused on you for the next 12 minutes. This is like a future
chosen baby, and the parents will be like, "You're the chosen one." They talked about you in this episode. What, like 1:30 something?
Yeah.
The chosen baby. Listeners, let us know if you want your baby to be the chosen baby.
If you pay a little extra on Patreon.
Oh yeah.
You can have the chosen baby.
Right, I'll put a chosen one tier on there. We'll talk to your baby personally in certain episodes.
We'll get him ready for when he can take over this podcast.
He or she. All right, I don't think we need to make assumptions.
And
here.
you know what? They. Maybe let's not block off any particular pronoun.
Well, also, I think it could possibly be more than one baby. I think that we need at least 2 babies to take over.
Oh, yeah, because it's a double podcast. You're right. So we're hosts.
That's what they call this, a double podcast. Oh, and I wasn't even sure what we'd talk about in this episode. I was like, there's a lot of driving. I have no idea how we're going to make this last for an hour and a half.
I went in here and I was like, this is going to be like a half hour long. See ya. Yeah.
So Mel gets in. I'll just call him Mel or Max, either way. He gets in because he's like, listen, I have this guy. He's hurt really bad. Let me in.
Yeah.
And, you let me in and I'll get some gas. I'll return this guy. You can give me gas. Great. Pay. But when he gets in, this guy ends up dying.
He doesn't make it.
And even these people who seem to be the good guys are like, hey, you made a deal with him. He's totally deadsies.
Right. And they're coveting their gas. They're not just
Right.
here to give out gas. This is their supply.
Yeah, and they're like, you gotta go. Sorry.
You came to tell us basically that here's your one dead friend. Oh, yeah, and the woman, because they're like, that one weirdo guy is like, where's the lady? He's like, yeah, she's dead. I couldn't save her. She was right. And he says something like, awful things happened, and now she's dead.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that these people's reactions are over the top, because I don't know. Maybe this guy is their son.
They're very sad about this guy.
But I'm just like, aren't people dying like right and left?
Yeah,
like, don't you lose people every day?
Look where you are. Look where you are, and the freaking X game gang that surrounds you. I guess daily. I don't know if this is something that happens in there.
Look where you are. The X Games. This is horrible. So, before they can throw him out, though, the evil gang returns and they have to move their bus. So then Mel Gibson can't get out. They can't throw him out. This is when we start to meet the bad guys, kind of. Because we know that the Mohawk guy is part of this gang. We also see that they have a couple of these good guy prisoners. Like,
oh yeah, and they just kind of like tie him up to their vehicles.
I know. The one guy appears to be Amish with his beard and no mustache.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they're just like, and there are other vehicles that are just like displaying corpses on them. They just have dead people like tied to the hoods of these cars too.
Because these guys are animals; they're monsters.
And as we sort of said earlier, we meet the S&M version of Jason Voorhees called Humongous.
Humongous. He's the only one that gives himself a proper introduction to everyone else.
Well, we've already sort of met the feral kid in that we've seen him like running around. Like he's already been tailing Mel Gibson as he came into this place, and we see him pop out of holes in the desert like a gopher and stuff.
And just make noises.
He's got such cool hair too.
Oh, the best.
This baby reminded me of the baby vampire in the Lost Boys. Remember how that kid didn't say anything, but it was just this tiny baby monster?
Yeah.
As Humongous is like, listen, we don't want anybody to get hurt.
We don't want all this violence.
We don't want to kill your friends. We've already tied to cars. Like we don't want to do any of this stuff. We see the feral child pop out of a hole in the desert.
Because that's where he lives, like a little feral baby, just digging holes.
Yeah, you were talking about it earlier, so take it away. You were talking about that deadly.
He has this amazing boomerang that's like made of like, it's the sharpest thing you ever did see. And when it flies, even everybody, like when he throws that weapon, like there's so many crazy weapons, like you're saying, bow and arrows, and there's like an axe of some kind that's thrown. There's these flame thingies. I don't even know, because they're not flamethrowers because it's a constant flame. But when the feral kid throws his boomerang, everyone just stops and watches the boomerang.
That's why that was so great. It's like these people want to kill each other. This kid pops out and throws a boomerang, and everybody's like, look at what's happening over there. Let's watch this. It's coming right for us, but let's just hang out and watch what happens.
And they're all waiting. I think even the feral kid is like, because when it comes back to him after, so when he throws it, this is pretty great when he throws it. And like you said, we've introduced to this Mohawk guy and his little lover friend that this thing goes right into the head of the lover. Like just bonks him right in the head.
It sticks in his head. It doesn't just bonk him, because this thing's metal and so sharp, like you said.
Yeah. Well, because then when he flings it again, it chops the fingers off of the one guy who tries to get it. But the feral kid could just catch it, because the feral kid's fucking magic. I don't know.
I love it when he cuts that guy's fingers off, because this guy is a bad guy. He's got like a badger on his head. I don't know what this outfit is. All of the bad guys erupt in laughter. They think this is the funniest thing they've ever seen, is this guy like crawling around the ground collecting his fingers.
Losing his fingers, right.
And this kid, they're like, one of the great things about this is clearly this feral child has an intricate bunch of tunnels underground that go into this place. None of the bad guys are like,
he's like a honey badger.
Follow that kid underground.
No, they let that kid, they kind of let the kid sort of be. Like, you would think he would be one of the first things people they would try to abduct, right? They would be important to the tribe. I mean, as we know, later he becomes their leader. But
this kid also doesn't seem to belong to anyone. Like, nobody's like, that's
Yeah.
my kid. He came out kind of weird. Like, nobody says this. Like, it's
Right,
just
right.
like one day they woke up and he was there and they're like, well, I guess you're with us now.
he's part of our tribe now.
So yeah, he does a whole thing and he kills a guy and cuts off another guy's fingers.
Yeah. Deadly.
And after he kills Mohawk's lover, let's say,
Oh,
Mohawk
Mohawk's
is
is not
freaking
happy.
out. And he and
Yeah.
Humongous are having a bit of a disagreement on how to
Well,
solve
yeah,
this
because
problem.
Humongous is kind of trying to chill him out.
Yeah.
And he does. Doesn't he kind of like, what does he do to him? He twists his neck, or what does Humongous do to him to chill him out? He does something aggressive, doesn't
yeah, he grabs him and kind of like knocks him out. He gets his other guys to take him away, and that's when Humongous
Yeah.
is like, "Pooh, sorry about that. Just
Yeah.
give us some gas and we'll let you guys go. This might have gotten a little out of hand right now."
he? Yeah, we need to take a minute. We need to take 5. Yeah, take 5. You guys good? Okay.
And
yeah,
that is
let's
what he
just,
says. He's like, "Listen, you give us the gas, just leave, and everything
Yeah.
will be fine.
There you
We'll be
go.
back tomorrow. We'll,
Right.
we'll
We'll
give you
check
some
on
time."
you tomorrow. No, yeah, he says we'll give you 24 hours. But the deal is we need your gas. All
Yep.
right, we're going to go away because
Mhm.
I got my sad friend over here that's having an episode, so we're going to take care of him.
Later, we see the Mohawk guy. He's still chained up. Like, Humongous chains him up.
Well, he can be a little crazy. He is crazy, that
yeah,
guy.
he's super crazy.
Yeah.
So Mel Gibson bonds with this kid a little bit. He gives this feral child
Oh, he gives the music thing to him.
the
yeah.
music box. He meets, I don't know, and, like, none of these people are people. Like, none of the people here are characters at all. Like we said, there's an older army general.
Oh, right. The leader, who's their leader? They have sort of this leader guy.
He's a blonde guy who's bland and meaningless, and just, I like how he pops in at the end. And I'm like, where the hell did this guy come from? He hasn't been in any of this crazy fighting, and he drives up and is like, I'm here, and instantly gets like a spear in his back.
Yes, harpooned in his back. It's terrible. Well, he gets that injury in his hip too at one point, but he's sort of, and then there's like, maybe there's 3 ladies. There's the one lady that was very emotional about that one guy dying.
Older lady, yes, probably
Yeah.
his mother.
That's a good call.
Mhm.
And then there's the lady that the hostage / helicopter guy makes the moves on when they're trying to sneak out together.
That woman who looks like she's ready to play tennis at Wimbledon early.
Yeah,
when we
with that
see
little
her.
ponytail.
That
Yeah.
ponytail on the top of her head and a
Yeah.
headband, and she's also wearing like a pink jacket. And I was like, this is the only color that I'm seeing in this entire camp.
'Cause she's our lady friend. She's
Yeah.
The other lady friend is the more badassy looking lady friend.
Yeah. I assume she would have, potential Mel Gibson love interest had
That's
things
what I
worked
thought.
out differently.
But it didn't work out for them.
Right.
Just didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mel Gibson basically says to them, because now he's got some time, they're not going to open the gate, they're not going to throw him out or anything. He's like, listen, I was driving around a while ago.
Oh, they take his car. That's right.
Yes.
They have Mel Gibson's car, so he's got
Right.
to bargain something with them because he needs his
Yes.
car back.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
like, hey, listen, out earlier, I was driving around, I saw this big giant truck. It's big
Yeah.
enough to load all of your gas in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll go get it if you give me all the gas I can carry and give me my car back. And
Yeah.
they kind of, like, the older dudes at this camp argue about it for all of 10 minutes and are just like,
Right.
we don't have another choice. We got to trust this guy. And they
Yeah.
just send him out with empty gas cans on foot. Like,
Yeah.
I found this so... I was like, all right, he wants this car, but don't you have a loaner? You could get, like, something. Like, give him a little motorcycle or just, like, a pedal bike or something
No,
for him to
he's just
ride
got to
on.
walk it. He said he knew where it was.
Yeah, but still, how far away was that? Like, it's miles away, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
and they had to take a helicopter to get to it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, but P.S. halfway through, while Mel or Max is on this journey back to the truck, he stumbles into his helicopter friend, who is sort of hobbling away
Yep.
with still chained to a piece of wood. The wood is still chained to him, but he's able to
Yeah.
walk around.
It is kind of
Right?
funny how Mel Gibson just sees this trail of this giant stump the guy's carrying.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like rolls his eyes and starts following this. And
Yeah,
immediately finds this guy. And they go back to find this guy's like flying contraption. I don't even know what to call this thing. It looks like a
looks like a
Leonardo da
helicopter
Vinci
for one.
helicopter, basically.
Yeah. That's a good way. There you go.
For as much as this guy flies his helicopter later, I am so glad we did not have to watch he and Mel Gibson fly in this thing together. Like,
Oh, yes.
it was just, I found it was such a relief the way they cut, because they find this and there's a dead guy next to it, and the goofy guy's like, I knew that snake would come in handy. This is great. So what do? I guess we got to go to that truck. And immediately it was like a hard cut to them at the truck, and I was just like, so glad I didn't have to see them try and start
I know.
this thing.
Yeah, and
try
if they
pilot
did,
it.
I'm glad they cut it. I'm glad they were
Yes.
like, no, it's awkward. Let's just get them to the truck. Yeah.
Yep. Mel Gibson basically gets in this truck and he's able to start it up, and he drives away and he leaves that goofball alone.
Yeah, even though the goofball's like, we're partners now, we're in this.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm a solo adventurer.
Yeah, but he follows him immediately in his weird little helicopter, and he drives it back to camp. I mean, there's really no issue. Like, the gang sees his truck and they flip out, and Humongous, oh God, he does pull out a gun. He's got like this gun in this weird velvet case that he has.
Oh, yeah, the fancy gun. Yeah.
And he shoots it once and steam pours out. But Mel Gibson's easily able to get this truck back to these people. And the helicopter guy flies in and they don't immediately kill him. Like, that's what I thought was going to...
No.
I was like, they don't know who this guy is, and he flies in a helicopter, and all they do is walk up and go, this is the coolest thing we've ever seen.
Yeah, they like his contraption,
Yeah.
so they're not going to kill him. He's got some cool inventions. He can easily fit in with their hodgepodge crew. I think he's even wearing lighter colors, where Mel Gibson's wearing the dark colors. He's got the dog. They're a little uncertain about him.
Oh, yeah, this guy does look like a good guy. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, yellow skinny jeans? All right.
Yeah,
Okay, we
you're
can do
one of
this.
us.
We can
Come
do
on
this.
in.
That's fine.
We got a single tennis lady over here looking for a good time. You want to hang out with her?
They're ready to leave. All these people are ready to leave. But the truck is totally busted up.
Oh, yeah, the bullet did some damage there.
We get a little bit of like back and forth where the guy in charge is like, how long will it take? And they're like,
Oh,
we
right.
need 24 hours. You have 12.
You got 12. right.
Okay. All right. Funny, I guess.
When Humongous shoots the engine, at one point, are there two bad guys? And I say the bad guys,
Sure.
but it's a bad guy and a bad lady. Are there two bad guys just having sex, and like they get up and they're like, "What's happening? Did you see that, or was that just
No,
something that I?"
First of all, I wouldn't doubt that that's in here, but I did not see that.
Okay.
You're talking about like when Mel Gibson is driving back like right through the middle of their camp
Yes.
for some reason?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I'll go back. Listen, I rented this on Amazon. I still have
So
that rental
take a
for
look
like
around
24
that
more
time.
hours.
I don't know what that timeline is, but yeah, I think it's like because it's like a naked lady. Like there's not a lot of nudity, but you almost see the one guy's butt
Right.
when he's crawling around. But there's the lady that gets raped. Unfortunately,
Uh-huh.
we see her naked, and
Right.
then all of a sudden we see this like naked girl who must have been, I guess, I don't know. They were having bad guy sex.
Wow, okay. No, I didn't notice that. And I didn't really know that there were any women in the evil gang.
I
So
didn't
that's-
know either. That's why she
Okay.
was one that I was like, oh, is she a
Huh.
member? But you only see her then.
All right, that's interesting.
I don't know, is it?
Listen, there's not a whole lot of interesting happening in this movie.
Okay,
Not
fair
to
enough.
say that it's bad, but I'm just saying there's not. If you're into car chases and you're into things exploding and you're into Mel Gibson and you're into sand, I get it. This movie
got
right
those
up your
check
alley.
boxes?
That's- yeah, you check the. I like how on your movie list is sand, and you're like, "Well, checks that box."
Well, then I got it. We got sand in this movie. I'm ready. Sign me up.
So Mel Gibson, so these people are like, listen, we need someone to drive this truck. And Mel Gibson's like, I'm fucking out of here, dude. I brought you your truck. Give me the gas.
Yeah.
My dog's here. I'm going to just sit on my
I'm just
car
gonna
and eat
keep
dog food
driving
again.
till I find the next spot. Till I find the next dog food place to buy more cans of dog food, I guess. I don't know where he's driving to next.
But Humongous this time, Humongous this time is not speaking into a microphone, and he's the most clear he is in the entire movie because he's like, you know what? We tried to be nice. You're totally screwed. We're going to murder all of you. Get ready. Get ready because it's coming.
Death is coming, and you've seen what we can do. So be ready.
Yeah. And in a pretty lean movie. Like this movie is like an hour 30. Like it's pretty trim in and out. This scene of the goofy helicopter guy trying to escape with Ponytail is unnecessary.
Takes a bit of time.
And there's
also long pauses. Yeah.
Right.
They don't ever get away together. And
No.
there's not even a moment where you see that like maybe when he arrived, she was kind of like looking at him coyly and shyly. Like there was none of that.
It's almost as if they had him and her in that VW bus at the end of this movie, and they were just like, what did we shoot that shows that they would be together?
Oh, right.
And they're like, all we have is this one scene that we were totally going to cut. And so they had to put it in just because of the ending. Because like you said, if they're all sitting around a big giant table sharing cans of dog food or whatever, and they're just making eyesies at each other, that's all I need. I don't need this scene.
No, where she decides not to leave with him. He's gonna somehow sneak away in his flying contraption with this lady.
I assume that is the loudest of these vehicles.
And again, we're in the middle of a pretty flat desert for I don't know how much you're hiding. But yeah, she decides that she can't leave these people are her family, and they're about to go through some hard times because the bad guy is ready to sort of release the Kraken, if you will. And things are going to get ugly.
By the Kraken, you're talking about the guy with the assless chaps, right?
Yes, he is the Kraken. Exactly.
Right. Got it. So this is where they talk to Mel Gibson and they show him a brochure for Cancun or something. And they're like, this is where we're going.
To the
Mai
beach.
Tais. It'll be great.
Yeah, come with us to Cabo.
Yeah, and they're just like, that's the Cabo, Mel Gibson. It's going to be the bee's knees, man. And they're really trying to convince him. And they don't. So then they like try reverse psychology where they're like, oh, we don't need your help. We could just do this ourselves. Like
Right.
this.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't want to say that's what convinces him, but he can't abandon his new BFF, this weird
The feral kid.
werewolf child.
Yeah, and I should have written down all the different noises this kid makes because he growls some and he howls some when he's gnawing on the one guy in the truck that comes through. The truck.
That scene takes forever. I found that wildly entertaining because if
me
he just
too.
bit the guy's arm and he screamed, I would think that's funny enough. But the fact that he, like a ferret, is crawling around on this guy,
Yeah,
just
and
biting the back of his neck,
It's pretty great.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
Also, the thing that I don't quite understand is, I guess no one else knows how to drive this truck. Like it's
Yeah,
almost
they
like got
really
this
rely
truck.
on him to do it. Well, because then even at the end, when he comes back and he's busted and he insists on driving the truck, he's still their best go, I guess, to drive it.
He doesn't decide he's going to do this yet. He
No,
tears
this
off
is
in
when
his
he-
car.
And the feral kid tries to stick around with him. The feral kid curls up in the
Right.
car, and
Right.
Mel Gibson takes the little music box and throws it. He's like, kind of like when Harry is told to go back into the woods, like, go, I don't love you. It's kind of what he does.
Get out of
to
here,
the
feral child.
kid. Yeah.
Nobody wants you anymore. He slaps this kid. Oh, that's so great. This is also a part in the movie where I was like, what just happened? And I sent you the GIF later, earlier today. And thankfully that thing was subtitled because as he speeds past this gang, Humongous turns around and says, disappointment, a puppy. I was like, what? What does that mean? What are you talking about? He tries to drive away. And his car is immediately run off the road. Like, the great driving that we've seen from Mel Gibson through this entire movie, he can't get out of this bad guy's camp before his car is pushed off a hill.
Yeah, they really get him, and they rolls down the hill,
Yeah.
and it's bad. Now, what is this contraption? Mel's got this thing underneath his car that even when he first meets the hostage guy, he reaches for a knife that's hidden underneath, and the hostage guy's like, ha, 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 what, do you have a knife under there? But there's, like, this button.
Well, because he even tells the hostage guy, the goofy helicopter guy, he's like, don't try and steal my gas. This thing is rigged to explode.
Uh-huh.
So I'm assuming that he has rigged up his car where if somebody tries to steal the gas, this thing's going to blow up.
Because of the preciousness of gas. I
The
gotcha.
preciousness of gas.
Okay.
If you can't have the gas, no one's getting the gas. So, and that's exactly what happens, but not before. Mel Gibson crawls out of the car and hides behind a giant rock, but
Yes.
his stupid dog jumps out from behind the rock
This is when dog gets,
and gets killed, and then his car explodes
Mm.
and kills the guy who killed his dog and all the other guys. And so he's able to, basically he crawls his way. It looks like every bone in his body's broken.
Oh, he's in a bad way. He's got his eyes swollen shut, and he looks a hot mess. But who comes to save him? Who comes? Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear
Helicopter
that.
sound,
I can.
okay.
It's a great sound effect. You should be reading us a traffic report right now. Great sound effects. Yeah, his buddy saves him and brings him back to the gasoline camp.
Yes.
I do appreciate that this is early enough in Mel Gibson's career where you can be like, listen, we're going to glue your eyes shut for the remainder of this movie. And that's what we're going to do, Mel. And he's like, all right, I'm on board.
Fine
Let's
with
do
it.
this.
Fine with it. What's the movie? Isn't there a movie where his half his face is not his? Is
The
all
man
messed up.
I want to call it
The
the
man with the
man
half a
with
face.
half a face.
I
Is that the
think
name of the
that's-
movie?
I want to say that is the name.
Is that the one where he turns super old like overnight, or is that a different one?
If that all happens to him, if he's got half a face and he turns old overnight, but it might be the same one. I don't know.
I don't know. That's like late '90s Mel Gibson, where he's just looking for something to do.
Yeah, he's
It's
like,
just
is it a romantic comedy? Because I do romantic comedies. Do I need a whole face or a half a face?
I do those now. Do I know what women want? I don't know. Women are horrible. Put me in this movie. So, anyway, Mel Gibson is saved. He's taken back to the gas people, and this is when they killed his dog. So now I guess it's personal. So he's like, listen, I might look like garbage, and I may be seriously injured. Lots of internal bleeding, but
Yeah.
I'm going to drive this truck.
Get ready. Yeah, I'm driving. Yeah.
And that's it. And that is what he decides to do. And that's kind of the rest of this movie. And to say that, there's stuff that happens, and I'm sure we'll go through it. But honestly, we're like 45, 50 minutes into an hour and a half long movie.
I had noted that, yeah.
And it's just like the rest of this movie is car chases.
It's he is the road warrior.
No,
all.
he is. And I knew what I was getting into because I'd seen this movie before.
Yeah.
But I think like the 11, 12-year-old me was way more into car chases.
Well, maybe you had your own little set of matchboxes that you were like, look out, wah! Maybe not when you were 11 or 12.
Maybe. No, I'm not. There's something that when people talk about movies, like I'll hear people talk about things like, what was the coolest car chase in a movie? Car chases are things that do not get me excited.
They're
Car
not your
chases are
jam.
things that
Yeah.
I don't care about.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it's bad, but it's just,
Well, no, I'm with you. I'm with
yeah. I knew this movie was car chases, and I was not excited about watching a car chase for the last 30 to 40 minutes of this
Yeah.
movie.
And it does get. This is when I texted Barrett, and I was like, I think you're going to be disappointed, but I don't think I'm into this. And this is when he thought I was watching the third one, and he was like, I am sort of disappointed, to be honest, and we have to really talk seriously about our marriage if this isn't a movie that you could get into.
Oh man.
But yeah, this is when I was like,
He's
yeah.
like, I don't have to Ike Turner you, do I?
Yeah.
You're like, I haven't even seen Tina Turner.
She's
yet."
not even in it.
She's
I don't
not
even
in
see
here.
her. Is she the feral kid? Because I don't know.
The youngest Tina Turner. Remember that time that Tina Turner played a little feral boy? That was a weird career move for her. So he goes off in this truck, and it's got a big tanker of gas behind it. The woman with the shoulder pads and some other guy, who I'm sure we've seen before, they're on
Part
top.
of the good guy crew.
Right. And basically, he drives out, and the entire gang follows him. And it's basically just a huge distraction so that all these other people who are old and hopeless can easily then just drive off and escape
Right,
in their
right.
VW bus caravan.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And that's what they do, except for the guy in the helicopter. He kind of just flies above Mel Gibson just so
He's like
every now and
keeping
then
an
we
eagle
can,
eye out.
yeah,
Keeping a
so
little
that
eagle eye.
we as viewers can every now and then get like aerial footage of what's happening here.
Now, mind you, the feral kid who's attached to Mel or Max has somehow, like you said, since no one's really responsible for him,
Right.
no one's really concerned, like, well, where'd Feral go? You know, he's jumped onto the cab of the car. And even, I think it takes a while before Max even realizes he's there. It's not until, because they get some, what's that thing? They get like this weird hook thing. They start swinging around this like anchor, the bad guys do, to try to like, and they swing it around and they rip the door off of the truck. And Mel's kind of laughing like, great. Now I'm like driving a postal truck. It's fine. I'm into it. And the kid must be on the other side. Because when does the kid... Mel
don't know.
finally
Like-
realizes the kid's there and scoops him up and brings him in the cab with him.
Oh God, listen, here's what I do have to say. I said I was not into car, chases and stuff like that in movies. The stunts are amazing. Like this is
Sure.
not CGI. Like this is crazy
Oh, yeah,
fun
yeah.
stunts. And just watching Mel Gibson like try and drive this thing, but also pick this kid up by one hand and like swing
yeah,
him
yeah.
into the cab of the truck was super fun.
I do like it too when Mel tells him, when maybe you're going to get to that, when the bullet shell is on the hood of the
When he
moving
practically
truck.
pushes this kid
And he
out.
tells the kid, you see the shell? You have to get the shell. And this feral kid's nuts. Like, he's been eating humans and chasing, hanging onto the side of this semi while all this crazy shit's going on. But this bullet shell's really going to be the one that, the thing that almost gets him.
I found that hilarious because he's like, this kid is having the time of his life. Mel
Oh, yeah.
Gibson shoots people in the
This
face
is like
with a
summer
shotgun.
camp for this
kid's
kid.
like, this is great. And Mel Gibson's like, oh, can you just get the bullet that's out here? This kid looks like he's going to shit his pants.
Yeah. Well, and then the guy who we think is dead, the Mohawk guy,
Yeah.
like all of a sudden it's like one of those, like he's back and he's like, and then the feral kid is screaming and the Mohawk guy is screaming. And Mel Gibson's just trying to drive the truck and pull the feral kid back up into the cab.
He's got one eye and no door. It's crazy. But yeah,
I thought I was having a bad day. I'm like, Jesus, how do you do it, Mel?
all of this stuff is happening. As we said, the woman in the shoulder pads, she's killed. The other guy on the truck is killed. The leader of this camp shows up in a goofy looking dune buggy and he's immediately killed.
Oh, yeah.
And Mel Gibson is doing his best. He's killing everybody.
He's just doing his best, killing.
And he's got just like a sawed-off shotgun and a truck with a ton of tires because there's so many people just getting run over in this movie.
Yeah.
You said that the guy with the mohawk, he at one point appears to fall off the front of the truck. Mm-hmm. And we think he's dead, but he's such an important character. You know he's not dead. So Mel Gibson takes his truck and turns it around at one point.
That's pretty great, yeah.
To drive back into this gang. So this is when Mohawk pops up, and then Humongous is driving straight toward the truck. So Mel Gibson smashes into Humongous, squishing Mohawk and killing Humongous.
Yep.
And the truck rolls over.
Yeah.
But he and this kid are totally fine.
Oh, yeah, they made it. Now, the other rollover with the car, Mel Gibson got banged up pretty bad. But the truck rollover, he and the kid.
He's okay.
Good shape. Probably
He's
because that
fine.
helicopter was watching them the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The helicopter guy is also throwing snakes out as if that's a weapon.
Well,
and
it
trying to
is.
save him.
For him, it is, yeah.
He also gets shot down, and I even wrote in my notes, I was like, well, that helicopter guy is totally dead.
But he's not.
But he's not. He's not.
No.
So this is when the big reveal happens. Mm-hmm. Because the rest of the gang now, without a leader like Humongous and without a second in command like Mohawk guy, there's a few of them left, and they just kind of like turn around and drive away like, all right, that's over.
And again, where are they going? Not home. I don't know
Where are they going? Also, you have a giant truck full of gas that's just laying on its side. Like, wouldn't you be like, while we're here, like,
Yeah,
let's just take care of
few.
this.
Yeah.
But this is when it's revealed that the whole thing has just been a trick.
Yeah, all of it. Tomfoolery. It's dirt. It's dirt.
It's
dirt.
just dirt. It's not sand. I was like, there's sand everywhere. Why is there dirt in this?
No, it's dirt.
Also, Mel Gibson's reaction made me wonder if he even knew that there was dirt in this thing. Like, he seems to be like, oh, you crazy
Yeah,
people.
you mangy kids.
You got me.
Yikes.
And then we get the epilogue.
The
let's call
narration's
it.
back. Yep.
Another voiceover.
Mm-hmm.
This is when, during the voiceover, we see that the new leader is the goofy helicopter guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in this VW bus caravan along with Top Pony,
Just taking all these little hippies
Yep.
down to Baja.
just with barrels of gas,
Yep.
just driving to Baja. And it's then revealed, I think the funniest reveal of the movie to me is that the voiceover, this sophisticated elderly British gentleman, is this feral child.
Who
all
was
grown up.
later, once they got to Mexico, he was educated and became well spoken and
Yeah.
stopped with the grunting and the gnawing because, the beach life.
grunting and gnawing. He's like Howie Mandel in that movie where he was raised by wolves.
Oh, yeah, see?
Oh man, if only that was Mad Max 3. So yeah, that's it. And he's just like, and Mad Max? I don't know. He just lives on in my memories.
Yeah, that's all he is for them.
So the end. So I'll say what I thought first. This movie, I think it's good. I think it's entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the movie I thought it was when I was 11 or 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking for a dumb action movie that is light on plot and light on dialogue and light on character, but has some super fun stunts, yeah, you can't go wrong with
You
this.
could do it. You should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, is this is obviously if you're going to watch, like, if you're going to get into the whole thing, like this is another key one to watch, perhaps, I guess. Obviously, if you're going to
Yeah.
watch the Mad Maxes, you want to watch 1, 2, 3. And then I guess you do want to watch the newer ones, like kind of do a full, and maybe that helps you get a better sort of landscape of,
Yeah. I mean,
the
when you
whole
say
thing.
the newer ones, there's only one. But
okay.
I would say start there, because if you've never seen any of these, start with that one. You don't need to see these first three to know what's going on in that. Mel Gibson's not around. It doesn't matter. It's almost like it does what this movie does, but 1,000 times better. And it's the
Okay.
same director. It's almost like he went back and went, oh, you know what? With more money, and I don't want to say better actors, because Mel Gibson's fine, but he's like, I could do a much better job. And he did. Like, visually, it's a gorgeous looking movie, too. So
Gotcha.
check that
Okay.
one out. And
Okay.
I would say...
Is that your recommendation? Did you
No,
just
that's not my
summarize all that?
recommendation.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
that's not my
Okay.
recommendation. And I don't think I'm gonna watch Beyond Thunderdome, which is the third one. I don't think I'm gonna watch that because I didn't even really like it as a kid. But I would say, if this is too much dumb action for you, check out the first one. Like, it's a smaller
Okay.
movie, and it's a really young Mel Gibson there. So
Oh,
If you're-
because
if
this
you're
one's a
into
pretty
that.
young one too.
I
Yeah.
know.
So and he's got both eyes open in the first one. Okay.
he's got both eyes open in the
Alright.
first one, but
Alright.
also this is like before Lethal Weapon hair too, where his hair was fighting
so it's
itself.
the croppy,
Like,
yeah.
it might become a perm, it might become a mullet. He wasn't
Where
sure
are
at
we
that time.
going? We're
Yep.
not sure yet. Still crazy
He
Australian.
he looks better
Yeah.
with short hair, 100%.
Oh.
But I will tell you what my recommendation was.
Please.
As I said, the leader, Humongous, reminded me of like an S&M Jason Voorhees. I recently saw a movie. It is
Oh.
British,
Mhm.
and it is an 80s movies, and it's called Unmasked Number 25.
Ooh.
Very bizarre title. It's a send-up of the Friday the 13th movies because it follows a serial killer who wears a hockey mask.
Okay.
And he's basically, at the beginning of the movie, he kills a bunch of teenagers. And as he goes to kill the last one, he realizes that she's blind. And she thinks that he's a date that her friend set her up with.
Oh.
This movie, like, then they form a bond and a relationship. And this movie is like Jason Voorhees just dating somebody and trying to be normal. but he's also
Interesting.
He's also still murdering people because he's like, well, this is what I do. This is my job, but it feels so
But
lot
the
less
blind girl doesn't have to
fulfilling.
know because she can't see.
Yes.
Wow.
It's not
Sounds kinda
great.
interesting.
Like, it's low budget and it's
Yeah.
super dumb, but it's a fun enough idea. So
And
that's
you
it.
took
That's
the
my
Jason
recommendation.
Voorhees mask and you just
Yeah.
rolled with that recommendation. I like it. I like
Yep.
it.
Yeah. What about
Well,
you?
I think it's no joke that, or no joke. I think it's obvious that I didn't love this movie. I
Sure.
felt like you. It was okay. It's just not my type of movie
Right.
that I like.
Yeah.
I would be interested in watching the new one, some of the others, just to see what the whole. Because I know people love the Mad Max. They love the Mad Max. They love all of them. Some
I'm
of
telling
them.
you,
One of
that new one, Charlize, is amazing. Like, it is-
Amazing. I know you're
it's
loving that one. My
worth
husband
watching.
loves the Thunderdome one. So I mean, I'll indulge. I'll see. But not my jam. But so my recommendation, because I don't like these types of movies, it was a little tricky. It was a
Yeah.
little. What am I going to recommend? But I loved the Feral Kid. He's like my favorite. Like I said, when I
Okay.
saw it come up in credits, Feral Kid, I'm like, I think this is going to be the anchor that keeps me tied to this movie. And it was. So a movie I've seen recently, sort of about feral kids, sort of. It's a recent release. It's from 2020. I think it came out in February. It's the movie. It's by the filmmakers that made Beasts of the Southern Wild, which I
Okay.
really liked. It's called Wendy, kind of loosely based off of Wendy Peter Pan and reimagined kids going off to Never Land. And I will say the movie itself isn't amazing.
Okay.
I really loved Beast of the Southern Wild, and this movie, it has like a lot of the visuals like Beast of the Southern Wild, but a lot of the story and the actor that plays Peter, he's just a kid, but I'm not a fan of his work.
Get out of the business, kid.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying you played him a little too heavy. All right, you could have lightened him up. He's Peter Pan. But it was a really fun movie and just an interesting take on the whole like Peter Pan, Never Land, and kids don't grow up. And so yeah, that's my recommendation. It's called Wendy. It's 2020. I forget the filmmakers' names, and it's all like kids and stuff in it, so I don't remember any of the actors' names. So details are limited.
It's all
But-
kids. I don't pay attention to the names of
They
kids.
don't need to have names. They're just
cares?
feral kid, happy kid, angry kid,
Listen, when
hyper
you're
kid.
credited as feral kid, that's what we're going to call you.
That's what you're called. That's
And
your
again,
name, yeah.
apologies to anyone else who's in this movie. You didn't have a name. Sorry.
No,
like
you
if
didn't.
it was mentioned once, we didn't catch it. It wasn't
No.
that important.
Sorry.
Well, everybody, thank you for listening, and we're going to come back to you in 2 weeks.
That's right.
We are still in the summer of sequels.
Sequels, rolling them on.
We're still in August.
It's the longest summer of my life, by the way.
know.
No, I'm just kidding.
And somebody did reach out to us on Twitter and said, please don't let this summer break you. And I was like, all right. It already
Hey.
did, but fine.
I know.
We're gonna continue with this trend of seeing sequels to films that we have not seen the first one of. And I am speaking for myself. Maybe I'm wrong regarding you, but we're gonna watch a movie called Eddie and the Cruisers 2.
Yeah, no.
Eddie Lives. So
I mean, I'm not saying no, I'm not going to watch it. I'm saying no, I've never had before.
I think it's like a romance, but there's also a lot of musical
I'm
elements.
sure
to
there's
it.
some song and dance if there's a guy named Eddie.
Yep. There's a guy named Eddie. You know that there's a lot of music in it. All this movies with guys named
So
Eddie. So yeah, I could only find the movie in 2 parts on Daily Motion, which is kind of like YouTube. So I'll send you links to it.
Please do.
But
Okay.
people, if you are looking for it, go to Daily Motion. You can find it in 2 parts. They're each like 45 minutes long. So, Jimmy, you can watch this in installments for a
That's
reason.
my favorite
like a
way to do it.
practical
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, for a real reason. Good. All right,
Right.
excellent. All right.
Yeah. So, again, we will see you guys then. Don't forget, find us on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at GTGMcast. And we're on Instagram. I think we're on there as like Good Times, Great Movies Podcast. It's a lot to type in, but just start typing.
But we're there, and then you see our little logo, and you've been rocking the Instagram. I just wanted to say that. I wanted to say it off camera, off camera.
This
But-
is off camera. I mean, I can see you. No one else can. Hey, where are you? Still in Alabama or whatever?
Yeah, or Arkansas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. Starts with an A. Alaska?
Yeah, we're here till Saturday.
Okay.
Listeners, just so you know.
Anyway, everybody also find us on Facebook. Find us wherever you can find us. Interact with us online. We'd really appreciate it. Tell people about the show. All that stuff that I never ever say before and after our shows. And 5 years in, we've already said it more. But thank you for listening, and we will see you again in 2 weeks.
Thanks for being here. Are you still recording?
I am still recording.
Me too!
I don't know
I don't know why,
why.
because something very important could be said.
All right, I'm going to stop now, though.
Oh.
Bye, everybody.
All right,
Thank
me
you,
too.
patrons.
All right.
You're
We
our
love
favorites.
you.
Bye.
Yes, bye.